If you're making less than $2,000 a month and you don't have a plan, you are one bad week away from a financial emergency. What's up? I'm Leonidas, and today we're not here to talk about cutting lattes or using coupon apps. We're here to talk about survival, real, practical survival for people who are working hard but still feel like they're barely keeping their head above water. This is the Broke Protocol, a temporary scorched earth financial system designed for one purpose: to stop the bleeding, stabilize your money, and build a foundation you can actually grow from. Now, before we get into it, I want to be clear. Nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. This is educational content based on personal finance principles. Every situation is different. This is a starting framework, not a prescription. Always do your own research and consult a professional for your specific situation. All right, with that said, if you're under $2,000 a month, this video was built specifically for you. Bookmark it, take notes, watch it more than once. Here's the brutal truth about why most budgets fail for people in this income range. They were built for people who already have margin. Most personal finance advice assumes you have room to maneuver. It assumes you can redirect a couple $100s per month and feel the difference. Or when you're living paycheck to paycheck, there is no margin. Every dollar already has a job, so the standard advice doesn't apply. I want you to reframe how you see this moment in your life. Going into survival mode is not failure. Survival mode is a tactical decision. Think of it like a soldier in the field. When resources are scarce, you don't keep operating the same way. You cut everything non-essential, conserve energy, and focus on the mission. The mission right now is simple: stop the financial bleeding. This is temporary, not forever, but it requires you to treat it seriously for a defined period of time. 90 days. That's the window we're working in. Before we build the protocol, you need to understand what's actually working against you. Enemy number one: lifestyle inflation disguised as necessity. This is when your brain tells you that something is a need, but it's actually a want you've just gotten used to. Streaming services, unused subscriptions, eating out 3 times a week. These feel essential because they've been in your life so long. They're not. Enemy number two: emotional spending. When life is hard, spending money feels like relief. A new pair of shoes, a video game, going out on Friday to feel normal for a night. I get it, but that relief is temporary and the damage is real. The Broke Protocol is about building a wall between your emotions and your wallet. Step 1 of the Broke Protocol is knowing your exact real number. Not your gross income, not what it says on your offer letter. Your take-home pay, after taxes, after any deductions. That is your operating budget. Full stop. If you're paid every 2 weeks, add both checks together and that's your monthly number. If your income is irregular, freelance, gig work, tips, take your lowest month from the past 3 months. Not the average, the lowest. Build from the floor, not the ceiling. Write down every single dollar coming in. Primary job, side hustle, government assistance, family help, selling things, whatever it is. Do not leave anything out. Example: let's say you bring home $1,400 from your main job, and you occasionally make $200 doing gig deliveries. Your base is $1,400. The $200 is bonus, and we'll talk about where that goes later. Here's a hard question I want you to sit with. Is your current income structurally too low to cover your basic needs, even with perfect spending? Because if the answer is yes, then budgeting alone will not fix the problem. A budget is not a miracle. It can only work with the dollars you have. If your income is below the local threshold for basic survival costs, rent, utilities, food, transportation, then the income side of the equation needs attention alongside the spending side. We'll talk about that more later. The Broke Protocol uses a four-tier budget structure. Every dollar gets assigned to a tier. Tier 1, non-negotiables, things that keep you alive and employed. Tier 2, functional needs, things that are necessary but have flexibility. Tier 3, quality of life, very limited. We're not cutting everything, but we're cutting hard. Tier 4, everything else, paused or eliminated for 90 days. Tier 1 is rent or mortgage, utilities that keep your home functional, basic groceries, and transportation to work. These get paid first, every month, before anything else. If you have a car payment, that's in Tier 1 only as the car is your direct means of getting to work. If you could take public transit, a car payment is Tier 2. Let's talk numbers. Rent should ideally be no more than 30% of your take-home. On $1,400, that's $420. That's tight in most cities, but that's the target. If your rent is above 50% of your income, that is a structural problem. You either need to find a way to increase income aggressively or seriously look at living arrangements, roommates, moving, or a temporary family situation. I know that's hard to hear, but I'd rather you hear it from a YouTube video than find out from an eviction notice. Tier 2 is things like your phone bill, basic internet if you work from home or need it for job applications, minimum debt payments, and any necessary medical costs. For your phone, if you're paying over $50 a month, you're paying too much in survival mode. Mint Mobile, Visible, and similar prepaid carriers offer solid plans for $15 to $25 a month. That switch alone can save $30 or more every month. Minimum debt payments go here, not extra payments, just minimums. We'll address debt more aggressively once the foundation is stable. Tier 3 is the hard one. You get a small quality of life allowance. I'm not going to tell you to live like a monk with zero enjoyment. That's not sustainable, and it leads to blowout spending. But this allowance is small. We're talking $20 to $30 per week, maximum. That could be one night out with a friend, a few meals you actually enjoy, or something that keeps your head in the game. Pick one. Protect it. Don't let it bleed into everything else. Everything else goes in Tier 4. This is the scorched earth part. Every streaming subscription you haven't watched in 2 weeks, cancel it. Gym membership you rarely use, pause or cancel. Any subscription box, gone. Eating out beyond your quality of life allowance, stop. Impulse purchases, completely paused. I want you to go through your last 3 months of bank statements and highlight every recurring charge, every single one. If it's not in Tier 1 or 2, it's gone for 90 days. Here's the math that makes this real. 5 streaming services at an average of $12 each. That's $60 a month, $720 per year. That's a car repair fund. That's a month of groceries. That's your emergency cushion. Small cuts compounded over time are not small. Food is one of the biggest controllable expenses in a low-income budget. And most people dramatically overspend here, not because they're reckless, but because they haven't built a system. The Broke Protocol grocery target is around $100 to $150 per person per month for basic nutritious eating. That sounds impossible until you learn how to shop. Rule 1. Shop with a list. Never without one. Unplanned shopping is where money disappears. Rule 2. Build meals around protein staples. Eggs, canned tuna, dried beans, lentils, rice, and frozen vegetables are the foundation. These are cheap, calorie-dense, and nutritious. Rule 3. Buy store brand whenever possible. Store brand and name brand are often made in the same facility. The markup is pure marketing. Rule 4. Reduce meat to 3 or 4 times a week. Meat is the most expensive protein source per gram. Replace with eggs or beans on other days. Rule 5. Prep in bulk. Cooking a large pot of rice, beans, or soup twice a week costs a fraction of buying individual meals. Example week of eating on $35. Monday through Sunday can be built around oatmeal, eggs, rice and beans, frozen vegetable stir fry, and occasional canned soup. Boring? Maybe. Functional? Absolutely. Aldi and Lidl are consistently the cheapest grocery stores in the US for staples. Dollar Tree and Dollar General for specific pantry items, canned goods, spices, dry goods. Walmart or Walmart grocery pickup for everything else with the lowest prices. Avoid Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and specialty stores unless you're specifically buying one cheaper item. The average basket at these stores is significantly higher. Transportation is often the second largest expense after housing. If you drive, you're paying for gas, insurance, registration, and maintenance. Survival mode transportation principle. Keep the car running. Nothing more. No upgrades, no vanity washes, no premium gas unless your car specifically requires it. If you use public transit, protect your transit card like cash. Map out your route efficiencies. Some cities have reduced fare programs for low-income residents. Look that up for your city. If your car insurance is high, shop it. Use comparison sites. Loyalty does not pay in insurance. Switching can save $50 to $100 a month. Housing is the hardest one to change, but also the highest leverage. If your rent is above 40% of your take-home income, it is the single biggest threat to your financial stability. Options you should actually consider in survival mode: 1. A roommate. Splitting a two-bedroom instead of living solo can cut housing costs in half. That could be the difference between breaking even and actually saving. 2. Negotiate your rent, especially if you've been a reliable tenant. Some landlords prefer stability over a slight rent increase. 3. Relocate within your city. Different neighborhoods in the same city can have dramatic price differences. A 15-minute commute change might save $200 a month. I know some of these feel extreme. They are. That's the point. Survival mode requires looking at things you previously ruled out. Before you pay off debt beyond minimums, before you invest, before anything else, you need $1,000 in a savings account that you do not touch. $1,000 is not wealth. It is not retirement. It is a buffer that keeps a bad week from becoming a catastrophic month. Car breaks down, unexpected medical bill, job hours cut. Without a buffer, any of these sends you into debt or financial crisis. With $1,000, you absorb the hit. On a tight budget, this might take 2 to 4 months to build. That's okay. The goal is to build it and protect it. The day you get paid, even if it's just $20 or $30, move it into savings before you spend anything. Automate this if your bank allows it. The psychology is simple. Money you never see, you never spend. Money sitting in your checking account is money at risk of being spent. Even $20 a paycheck is $500 over a year. That might not sound like much, but it is money you would not otherwise have. Not under your mattress, not in your regular checking account. Open a high-yield savings account at a bank separate from your checking. The slight inconvenience of it being a different bank is a feature, not a bug. It creates friction before you spend it. Current high-yield savings accounts offer interest rates significantly higher than traditional savings, some above 4% annually. That's not going to make you rich, but it's far better than zero. Ally Bank, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, and SoFi are commonly cited options. No fees, no minimums on some accounts. Here's the truth about budgeting at the lowest income levels. There is a floor to how much you can cut. You cannot cut your way to wealth. At some point, and often fairly quickly, you hit a wall where the math simply doesn't add up, no matter how disciplined you are. That's when you have to address the income side. Before you start a business or invest in a side hustle, look at what's already available to you. Number one, more hours or overtime at your current job. The easiest income source is usually the one you already have. Ask, specifically ask your manager or HR if there are overtime opportunities or additional shifts. Number two, gig apps for time you already have. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, or Shipt for driving. TaskRabbit for physical tasks. These are not careers, but they are reliable dollar per hour income with no startup cost. Number three, sell what you own. Go through your apartment. Every item you don't use is capital sitting idle. Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp can convert unused items into cash within 48 hours. Number four, check your benefits eligibility. SNAP, LIHEAP for utilities, Medicaid, local food banks, and city assistance programs. These are not handouts. They are systems that exist for exactly this situation. Using them frees up cash for other priorities. After you have 90 days of survival mode behind you, and after you have your $1,000 buffer, then you start thinking about income growth more seriously. Skill development, certifications, career moves, freelance income. But right now, in the first 90 days, the focus is stop the bleeding and build the cushion. Don't let the dream of income growth distract you from the basic discipline required right now. In survival mode, you pay minimums on all debt. Nothing more. I know that feels wrong. I know you've heard to pay off debt aggressively, but here is the logic. If you aggressively pay down debt and then have an emergency with no savings, you go right back into debt at a higher balance. You've gone nowhere. The sequence matters. Step 1, build the $1,000 emergency buffer. Step 2, once the buffer is built, direct surplus to high-interest debt. Credit cards first, high interest rate. Step 3, after high-interest debt is gone, build the buffer up to 3 months of expenses. Don't skip steps. The sequence is the strategy. Every 30 days, not every week, sit down and review your numbers. Questions to ask yourself. Did I stick to the tier structure? Where did I overspend and why? Is my emergency buffer growing? Is there any tier 4 expense that crept back in? The review is not about punishing yourself. It's about calibration. You will make mistakes. Everyone does. The review is where you catch them before they become habits. After 90 days, the goal is to no longer be in survival mode. You should have your buffer, your spending under control, and a clearer picture of where your income needs to go. Look, I know this was a lot, and I know none of it is easy, but here's what I want you to take away from this video. Your situation right now is not your permanent situation. It is a temporary problem that requires a temporary protocol. 90 days of serious, intentional, focused action can change your financial trajectory. Not forever, not completely, but enough to give you breathing room. And breathing room is where better decisions get made. If this video helped you, drop a comment below with where you're starting, just your income range and one cut you're committing to making. Accountability is a real thing. I'm Leonidas. I'll see you in the next one.